Hello, everybody. I hope that you're doing well today. Um, I just wanted to say hi and welcome to all of my new subscribers. I have not been here in several months, but yet somehow I've received like 15 new subscribers, and I am shocked and amazed. And I just want to say thank you so very much. Somehow I guess my content is still getting out there, and I hope that it is helping people. Uh, and that is the whole purpose as to why I started this channel, was to get to tell my story and to help people that have been through abuse um, with my story, or through my story, I should say. Um, I am blown away that I have gotten new subscribers, and I have not really put any new content up in quite a few months. But thank you. So I'm going to just explain really quick where I've been, and then I guess do a quick introduction for the new people. I've been posting videos for about 5 years, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you haven't gone to check those videos out. If you haven't and you would like to know more of my story content, please feel free to check those things out. I have currently stopped talking in great detail about my story for a couple personal reasons, and but I do plan to get back to that eventually. But please, I beg you, be warned, if you do go and listen to the earlier content, trigger warning for all of it. Because when I started talking about my story, I didn't consider trigger warnings at first because I was brand new to doing this, and I didn't think about how this could be triggering to other people. And I have learned a lot as I've gone through the last several years of doing this, and also the work I do in my community and whatnot. So please, 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 please understand that what I talk about in my earlier videos is extremely graphic and trigger warnings. If you are sensitive to sexual abuse, if you are sensitive to violence, if you are sensitive to anything horrific, please do not go watch those videos unless you feel like you can handle them, because they are graphic and I don't really spare many details. And like I said, I've stopped doing that for right now. I do plan to get back to doing that later on, but right now there is a personal reason why I have stopped, and as soon as that is taken care of, I will resume that. Okay, so um, my name is Kimberly. I am 48 years old. I am a survivor of narcissistic abuse, sexual abuse, rape, physical abuse, mental abuse, psychological abuse, torture, starvation, a few other things. The only abuse I have not experienced at this, I've also been trafficked. The only abuse I have not experienced at this point is religious abuse, thankfully. And that would be because growing up, my mother did not believe in any sort of God or entity. And so I think that was probably why I was spared from that, because she didn't spare me from anything else. So anyway, so where I've been, I I was a singer in a rock band up until the spring of last year, and I had a seizure out of nowhere. I've never had a seizure before in my life. We still don't know why I had it. I did have 4 more over the year. Um, Not as bad as the first one. Um, and I had to quit my band, unfortunately. Um, but we are still searching for answers. Um, I have had almost every test that you can possibly imagine, and everything keeps coming back fine. Except I did have an MRI done in January, and that did not come back okay. Um, I learned that I have 2 pretty significant TBIs, traumatic brain injuries. I have one right here, and I have one back here. And they are likely from the daily beatings I received as a child, likely from my stepfather, um, who was high up in the military, like a drill sergeant, but a little bit higher. And he loved to beat me around like a rag doll. I was beaten every single day. Um, my mom also beat me quite often, but it was mostly primarily him. Um, I also have a couple other things going on that I'm not going to discuss right now because I'm waiting to see the specialist so that we can get answers as to exactly what is going on and what the prognosis is. It may or may not be good. I don't know. Um, I have seen my neurologist. I see him again in 2 weeks, but even he's not quite sure what is going on. So that's why he wants me to go see this specialist. But again, I don't really want to disclose this information at this point because I don't know how to answer any questions that might come up from it. So um, all I'm going to say right now is I do have 2 significant TBIs. And I've never had a head injury that I can remember except for when I was a child. I remember specifically one time for sure, I was absolutely beaten unconscious, and I remember that very detailed. As for the second one, I'm not sure how I received that one, but I'm pretty sure it was from my stepfather. Because, like I said, I've never sustained a head injury that I'm aware of, except for what I am aware from him. So my mother, I'm sorry, I have also just recently been diagnosed with ADHD as well. So I am in the process of having medication stabilized, and it's not quite where it needs to be. So I might jump around a bit and forget what I'm saying, and I'm so sorry. We're trying to dial in my right dose of Adderall because I'm just got it everywhere. No, sorry. So a lot of you are probably wondering what my diagnoses are because of the severity of my abuse. I PTSD, CPTSD, ADHD. I have severe anxiety. I have depression. Um, I don't have any actual significant diagnoses. Like, I'm not schizophrenic. I don't have bipolar. I don't have borderline personality disorder. I don't have any of those traditional things that come from severe abuse. It's just, like I said, PTSD, CPTSD, anxiety, depression, and ADHD, which that doesn't come from abuse. That's just one of those things, apparently. I also have Tourette syndrome. However, it is not as bad as a lot of people have it. So you may or may not ever see any of my tics because I have learned over the years how to mask them. So a lot of my tics look like just basic everyday movements. Although sometimes I won't be able to hide them if I'm really super stressed out, or if I'm talking about something that's really like super emotional to me. I grew out of the vocal tics. I don't have vocal tics anymore, but I used to. I don't have those anymore. It's just all muscular stuff. So I am so grateful that I do not have the severity of Tourette's that many people have on social media. Other than that, that's the extent of that. And then, so that's where I've been. I did not give up on my channel. I did not decide to just stop posting content. I've just been super, super, super busy trying to figure out what's wrong with me because I have a lot of neurological and cognitive things going on and we don't really know why. And it could be related to the brain findings that we recently discovered, or who knows, but that's probably likely what it is because everything else is normal. Okay, so a little bit more about me. Let's see. My mother was she's dead now, thankfully. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. She was an extremely horribly abusive, narcissistic alcoholic. She tormented me every single day of my life until I went no contact with her. When I was in my late 20s. She died about 15 years ago, maybe 16. I'm not quite sure. I really don't care. So I do have a brother, but I don't talk a whole lot about him to respect his privacy because I don't think that he would really want me to talk about him. And that's completely fine. My parents divorced when I was 5. My mother blamed it entirely on me, and for years told me it was all my fault and blamed me every single day and just did and said the most horrific things to me. As my abuse started probably in my infancy, but as far back as I remember, I was 2 going on 3. And I remember telling my mom that the neighbor that was babysitting us was doing some pretty disgusting things to me. And I remember that she laughed at me and she brought me over there and confronted me in front of him. Of course, there was a denial. And anyway, if you want to hear that story in detail, I do have that posted on my earlier content. It's like one of like the second or third story video in. I'm not quite sure anymore. It's like birth to 5 or something, I don't remember what it's called. But I do talk about that in there. I have been sexually abused by 6 different men in my life. 2 of the men in my life, I believe, well, one of them for sure, my mother profited off of. And I also, through trauma therapy, believe that she was also profiting off of the sexual abuse I was receiving between 2 and 3. There's just too many things that have come to mind that have been uncovered through my therapy to tell me that she wasn't profiting somehow off of that, because I told her in great detail for a child of that age what was happening to me, which I couldn't have possibly known anything about, because how would I have been exposed to any of that if it wasn't happening? And my parents didn't watch porn, so I wouldn't have been exposed to that kind of stuff. But Anyway, that story is there. Again, graphic content. Please do not watch or listen unless you can handle graphic content. So there was the next significant sexual abuse. I mean, it's been scattered throughout my childhood. When I was 10, I was violently and horrifically raped by a 15-year-old boy who had been grooming me since I was 9, and I didn't know. I didn't understand. I had no clue what was going on. It's through therapy that I realized what was happening and that he had been preying on me that whole time so that he could eventually put me in a position where he could do what he did. He did not receive any consequences from it because nobody believed me when I tried to tell. I told my mom, and she blamed me. And I don't know if I have that story in my files or not, but I kind of feel like I do. I don't know what it's called, but um, I'm pretty sure I have that in there. But yeah, she blamed me for it, and if that story's in there, it's pretty graphic. So that happened when I was 10. It might be something like, I don't even know what the titles would be anymore. I'm sorry. Also, in my 10th year, my mother sold me to one of her boyfriends for about 2 weeks. And she profited off of that as he sexually abused me. That story is in my earlier content. It's called Let's Meet Jay. Again, trigger warning. It's very graphic. I didn't tell anybody about that because I was too horrified. And after I found out that my mom already knew, I just figured, what's the point in saying anything? You know, my mom already knew, so nothing's gonna happen. I did tell several people throughout my childhood the things that were happening to me, and because it was the 80s, it wasn't child abuse wasn't as discussed as it is now. It wasn't as reported as it is now. There wasn't as many security features as there are now. There were as many people that gave a crap as there are now. So it was allowed to keep happening because even though I told people, they would just basically say, stop lying, stop making up stories. What a horrible thing to say about your mother. Just, blaming the victim because they didn't know how to deal with it. And it didn't help that my narcissistic mother was also telling everybody that I had significant mental problems to hide the fact that her and my stepfather were horrifically abusing me. And so there was just a lot of victim blaming, shaming, and manipulation going on. And there is so much more that I have so much more to tell, and eventually I will get there. But like I said, as for the extremely detailed content right now, I won't be sharing much of that right now because like I said, there's something that I am dealing with that I need to get that taken care of before I can continue with that. But I do have lots of other things I plan to talk about. I'm going to be answering some questions that I've received over the years, or recently. No, over the years. I was going to say I've been advocating for over the years. Before vid 19, I was going to schools, high schools and college psychology classes, and I was talking to psychology students about abuse and what it's like to be a survivor, and um, also going to just different places and talking, and that was really, really helpful for people to hear, especially people in psychology or the psychology field or who want to go into psychology. Um, it is incredibly helpful for them to hear perspectives from survivors and victims, because books can teach you so much, but they won't teach you everything. And this summer, I have planned that for a good majority, I will be speaking to many of the big league colleges in my area and some other locations. I'm going to be doing some survivor talks and some presentations with some psychology classes, and that's basically what my summer is going to consist of. So I'm pretty excited about that. I don't get paid for anything that I do. I don't do any of this for money. I do this to help other people. Would be nice if I could make some money, because you know, who doesn't want to? But I'm not doing this to make money. Trying to think what else I could say real quick. Sorry, my brain just went blank. The joys of ADHD. Trying to think. I think it's about. Oh, okay. So okay. I left out a part. So the next time I was significantly sexually abused was when I was 16. It was my ex. Because of the situation of how it happened, I didn't realize that what he had did was rape, because I didn't think that you could be raped by someone that you loved and that you thought loved you. So despite I love this boy deeply. Like I thought we were gonna get married. He promised me the world. I was 16, he was 18. He played me very, very well. He was definitely a predator. I'm sorry, I've got tons of crafting stuff all over, and I'm trying to keep it from falling, because I'm a resin jewelry maker, and there's one of my pieces of jewelry I made. But so I'm like, my stuff's just kind of like slowly falling to the edge of my table. But anyway, I was deeply in love with this guy, and he knew that I was a lonely 16-year-old girl who was desperate for love and just somebody to care about me, because my parents, even though I wasn't living with my abusers anymore, I was living with my biological father and my stepmother. They were always working, so they were never home. And he knew that I was alone all the time, and that, well, he knew a lot of things because his cousin was one of my friends, and she told him all kinds of things about me. And basically, he learned how to manipulate me before he even met me. So, anyway, through therapy, it was revealed to me that he also raped me, which was so horrific to discover, because, like I said, I was so in love with him, and I really thought that we had a future together. But I did tell him no. I told him straight up, like, I don't want to have sex until I'm married. I don't I don't want to do any of that. Like, I don't care if we do other things, but I don't want to have intercourse until I'm married. And early on, he was like, no problem. Well, that didn't last but about 4 months. And then he went from the sweetest, most charming, amazing boyfriend to an abusive monster. Well, I wouldn't say he was a monster, but he was definitely abusive and awful. And I was with him for about a year before I was able to break free from him. And the reason why is a story I haven't told yet because I haven't talked much about him. Actually, I haven't had any story about him yet. But I was trapped in a situation where I was stuck with him for a year until I was able to finally break free. And I then, after some healing, started dating my now husband, and we have been together since we were 16. We are now married 26 years as of November, and we have been together for 31 or 32 years as of October. He is the most amazing, most loving man, most patient, kind, and caring man I've ever known in my life. Growing up, the only thing I knew about men was that they were mean, and all they wanted to do was touch me and hurt me. I never knew that men could actually be sweet, kind, loving, caring, patient, kind, and compassionate. I had no idea until I met my now husband. And it took a very long time for me to learn to trust him. But he just stayed. He just stayed patient and gave me the space and the time. And we broke up a lot. But he'd always be there waiting for me to come back to him. And eventually I realized I really do love him. I really do care about him. When I'd come back and we'd date for a couple more weeks, and I'd be like, this is getting too intense. Why are you so nice to me? And then break up. Like, this went on for a while. But I mean, it was normal because of everything that I had been through. My therapist says that it's extremely normal. And I'm just one of the very fortunate people who have been blessed with a real man that was patient and kind and understanding enough to not get mad at me when we broke up and not just, become a dick. And he never did. He was always just, all right, if you change your mind, I'm here for you. You want to talk, I'm here. Whatever. I'm not going to say it didn't break his heart, because it did. Oh my gosh, it broke his heart. And he told me years later that every time I broke up with him, he would cry for a couple days, just heartbroken, wondering if I was going to go back out with him. And oh my God, that broke my heart to hear that. But anyway, we've been very happily married for 26 years. No more breaking up. No more any of that stuff. He is my everything. And I don't believe that I would still be here if it wasn't for him. He has helped me heal in so many ways. And I've truly been blessed to have a man like him. We do not have any living children, unfortunately. Not that we didn't try. We tried for over 20 years. We did infertility treatments. Unfortunately, due to several factors, all being me, some very personal that I don't want to go into, and some being because I also have a condition called PCOS, which basically makes a lot of women infertile. I was able to get pregnant three times but I miscarried 4 babies, all in the early first trimester. My last pregnancy was twin boys. I lost my one boy pretty early on. My second boy lasted almost to the second trimester. We really thought we were going to get to keep him, but we lost him right after Easter. He would be 18 today, and my twins would be 18 today. They would be 19 this December. And my daughter, my pregnancy before them, she would be, I think, 20 or 21 right now. I can't remember anymore. It feels like it's been like forever ago, which kind of has, but also kind of feels like yesterday in so many ways too. And then the child that was conceived from the rape of my ex would be probably 30, 31, 30 something at this point. Yeah, I forgot to leave out, or forgot to mention, I guess, yes, that rape resulted in me being pregnant. That pregnancy, I didn't even know I was pregnant. I was 16 years old, and I gave birth to, I believe it was a second trimester, early second trimester fetus, because it actually had, it wasn't just cells, put it that way, but it was not viable. It was very, very small, but still the pain was beyond excruciating, and I was by myself. It was the middle of the night, and I had no idea what was happening to me because I had no idea I was even pregnant, and there was so much blood and so much pain, and I did it all by myself. And my parents weren't home because they were at some weekend thing. And yeah, that was really horrific to go through. But, you know, I couldn't do anything about it, obviously. So I believe that probably concludes everything that I can share in an update at this point. I will be back with some new content. I'm going to be coming back and answering some questions I've recently been asked. I'm going to do something new where I'm going to try to. So many people have asked me why my mom was the way she was, yada yada yada. I believe I have a pretty good understanding of who she was, why she was, or however you want to word that. So I'm gonna do some coverage on what I believe that she would have been diagnosed with, as well as why I believe she acted the way she did, and why she did what she did. Now, these are just my thoughts and opinions because I don't have a formal diagnosis of my mother, because my mother, in her words, was perfect and there was nothing wrong with her. Everybody else was crazy because she was a grand narcissist. So that in itself is just a wonderful thing to deal with. But yes, I will be back with more content, and I'm going to try to post more frequently. So I will see you all again soon, and I hope that you take care, stay safe, be blessed, and until next time, take care.